synagogue, and they jumped on it. The opportunity to have Bukharian food and to have somebody come over that can speak about the culture of Bukhara was really very important to them, and this is what this is all about tonight. So in a few minutes we're going to have a speaker that's going to give us some of the background and introduce us to the region and the foods of the region and the...
And I want to personally welcome everyone, and first and foremost, ladies, if you could please settle down. There are seats. There are several seats here, and I think 2 more people on the sofa, and right around here we can still sit. Some people are making themselves comfortable right here on the floor, Bukharian style. If you'd like, we can offer you some cushions. Okay, great. Actually, I tell you, we actually did not realize that we would have such an overflow crowd, and we're so excited. So first, we'd like to thank Cynthia Stein for opening her beautiful home. She's always ready to host. Thank you very much. The initiator. Can you go in there and get the initiator of tonight's event is our very own Zina Abraham, who happens to be the mother-in-law of Joanna Abraham, and the mother of Jackie, and the Muchatenist of Rosita Zeltzer. And she's a woman, an amazing woman, lives in our community for many years, and she had a brainstorm, and her brainstorm was all about the fact that we know so much about European Jewry and so little about the Bukharian Jews, the Afghani Jews, the Pakistani Jews, and it would behoove us as a Jewish community to learn a little bit more about the eclectic, magnificent Jewish community of sisters and brothers that we are. And so this is how this idea came to be. And then we had, at the home of Rebitz and Dubby Rubenstein, all the cooking took place. I'd like the ladies who were very much involved in the cooking to please stand up. Zina Abraham. Angela, come here 1 minute. Angela, Zina, Miriam, who else? Tell me the name.
Zina.
Angela, Zina, Miriam, Malka. Please come up for a moment. Joanna. Joanna. Here she's coming. And Esther Pinhasi, please come up. And then I want to tell you that the very first person that tasted the food and said it was the best that he ever ate was Rabbi Shia Rubenstein. So he was our tester, and he said it was great. So Baruch Hashem, I'm sure you all had a little bit of the food, and perhaps a little later on, you will be able to enjoy more. So we thank you, ladies, for your magnificent cuisine, for coming up with this brilliant idea, and we thank you so much. And now, my dear ladies, okay, we're good. We have, if people have been asking about the recipes, we have a magnificent cookbook that was prepared by Dalia is the one. Dalia Abraham is the one that wrote this magnificent cookbook. It's up at the front. It's $20, and most of the recipes are in that cookbook, plus a lot of culture, and you will enjoy the cookbook. So please, as you exit, you can buy the cookbook. And the Challah book. We have a magnificent Challah book of many different styles of Challah, different varieties of recipes you will all enjoy. Okay, and now for another highlight. Thank you. Another highlight. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Another highlight of tonight is our wonderful speaker, our guest speaker, who has come in specifically from New York to speak to us this evening. Her name is Geula Sabet. Geula Sabet. lectures extensively on Bukharian jewelry. She really is an expert. She has written curriculum on this, and we are very honored that she flew from New York, bringing with her many of the costumes, the outfits that are worn. Just for one, Raquel, please come for a second. This little outfit, Geula had this made for her grandson, and this is what is worn by a young child at the upsharing. That's how they dress up for their upsharing with a 3-year-old haircut, and this is really an heirloom. Raquel is modeling, please come here, is modeling a kaftan that is prepared for for a groom. And if you can see the detail, the magnificent detail of this kaftan, magnificent kaftan that was really handmade specifically for a chassan, for a groom. In the Ashkenazi community, a chassan wears a white garment. In this community, they wear this magnificent gold and black with all the symbolism, the menorah, the Magen David, and of course it's homemade, a homespun, homemade with the gold filigree. And I do want to tell you that these are heirloom pieces. Please turn around so they can see this. Valerie Borochoff. Valerie, just come forward for 1 minute. Valerie also is wearing a kaftan that is 100 years old that her mother-in-law gave her as a gift. So come and take a look at this magnificent kaftan. And here they are, the two of them, with this kaftan. Okay, and if you look around the room, many people are wearing Bukharian outfits or Afghani outfits, and others are just getting dressed for the fun. Mine is a Purim outfit that I wear for the Purim parties. Ladies and ladies, let's give our undivided attention, and I ask, please, that we really do not have private conversations as Geula will address us. Ladies, Geula is accustomed to a very, I don't want to use the word obedient, but a very quiet, interested audience, and I hope that we can honor her and respect her for the time that she put into this. She traveled from New York specifically to address us, and we ask you to please give her your attention. Geula Sabet. There are plenty of chairs right here, and Geula has a microphone. So right here towards the entrance, there are 15 additional chairs, so nobody has to stand. Ladies, there'll be plenty of food to eat after, but please join us so you can listen to Geula. Okay, these heirloom costumes are there's 1 in a million, I mean really. So Geula asks that we please, if we're wearing them, and Zina, who brought them with her, that we please take very good care of them, replace them on the hangers after we've worn them, and if we're eating while we're wearing them, to please be careful that they don't get soiled. Thank you again.
Good evening. It's really a pleasure to be here. First, I'd like to thank our hostess, with the mostess. She's very gracious. I hope she'll always have happy occasions in this home. Amen. Now, I also like to, I appreciate the Rebbitzin, all the work she did, and all the wonderful friends that I have not met, I haven't seen for many, many years, and they did recognize me. Some of them I haven't seen in 40, 50 years, and it's wonderful to be here. If we are all under 50. In any case, I want to tell you that tonight I'm honored again to wear my mother's dress. This is called Gul Bahmal. It's flowers of velvet. She got it for her wedding, and then she would wear it for every Passover and Rosh Hashanah at the table. She also danced at her wedding, not in a white dress. She would put this over it in order to be very modest, and she would wear it also. Of course, the hairdressing was not this, exactly like this, but this is how I tied it down. You could do whatever you want with it. Now, most of the people here in this room did not know where Bukhara is about 30, 40 years ago. Nobody ever even heard of Bukhara. So I want to tell you where it is located. It was part of the Soviet Union, Central Asia. On the east side was China, On the west was the Caspian Sea. On the south was Iran, a neighbor. And then Russia was on the north. Now, Bukhara was a home for Jews for 3,000 years. The people from Bukhara came after the first temple was destroyed by the Assyrians. The Assyrians exiled them, and they came to Bukhara. It is mentioned in Kings 2, 17:6, and Chronicles is Divrei Yamin. It is A, 5:27. It is mentioned the city of Habor, Gozan, and the cities of Madan. And this is where Bukhara was. The Jews of Bukhara lived there for 3,000 years before Bukhara became even Bukhara. It was all a desert among the mountains, and they had some oases, and the Jews lived there. After them came many, many, many kings, emirs, nationalities, rulers, and they had many catastrophes also, where Jews suffered from different religions. In the beginning it was pagan, and later in the 8th century it was Islam. And later on, as you know, it went through many, many kings and queens and people who had wars, and the last one was the Tsar. And after that, it was the emirs who came to Bukhara, and they ruled the country. And after the emirs, it was the Bolsheviks who turned over, and then the Soviet Union. Now, through all these years, we also had terrible things that happened. Bukharian Jews would have been many, many, many millions by now. Unfortunately, there were diseases, there were sicknesses, there were all kinds of plagues, there were all kinds of terrible tragedies, natural catastrophes, so we lost a lot of Jews. Also, in the 8th century, the Muslims came in, and a lot of Jews were forced to become Anusim. Who knows what Anusim is? Yes. Marranos, right. They were forced Jews. They lived outside as Muslims. They accepted Islam, but at home, underground, they were Jews. They lived like the Marranos Jews, and that was a very, very difficult time for the Jews.
What was the language?
The language, good question. The Jews themselves spoke Farsi, and as you know, at one time, Bukhara had 21 countries, but they invented their own language. It was Bukharian. Bukharian is a Hebrew, Aramaic, Turkish, Farsi. And they mixed it up together and they call it Bukharian. The Bukharian people were educated people. They had their own writings. They wrote in Rashi letters. Rashi letters were the old Hebrew script, but in Bukharian language. They had their own dictionaries. Tafsir, explanation of the Torah. They had their own dictionaries. They had their own poetry. They had newspapers. They had circulars. They had everything. The only thing they didn't have is the printer, the Jewish print. That they sent to Europe. They did have communication with Europe, and that was with the Lubavitch. Zichrono Livracha, Meir Schneerson, his father-in-law, was a guest at my grandfather's house. My grandfather was the chief rabbi of Bukhara. And at that time, they had communication, and I'll explain how the communication worked. Although we didn't have cell phones, and we didn't have cars and transportation or phones, but they had a very good communication system that they worked out for themselves.
What is your father's name?
Oh, my grandfather's name was Zichrono Livracha Harav Chizkiah Rabin Chaimov. Yes. Yes. We are related, probably. All Jews are related from Adam and Eve. I always say that. Yes. Now, the thing is this. Excuse me?
There is a book on the table.
Yes, I brought these books. It is, this was a book of my grandfather. My uncle dedicated for him, and we have other books from my family, from my father's side. It was very acceptable that each for very special families, they wrote their own books. And we also have a genealogy from our family to Ezra Sofer. It goes all the way, and it is, the book is in Leningrad, in the library in Leningrad. My son and my cousin want one day, they have a wish to go there and to take copies of it and to write a book about it. I hope one day that they will do it. Now, the thing is, the story goes like this. Now, the Jews, for many years we said that the Jews, we had 10 tribes that were lost. Ladies and gentlemen, they were not lost, they're still here. They just could not communicate because they didn't have good communication system. We believe, and they made some research, that, and the Jews claim that they are from the tribe of Benjamin and some of Naphtali. 2 tribes, among them are Leviim and Kohanim. My family, my mother's side of the family, were Kohanim, and they were very much revered. Now, the rabbis in Bukhara were, we had 2 kinds of people. We had Veshinamtam Levanecha, you should teach to your children. It was, they were taking it very seriously. Every boy had to learn how to read and write, but a lot of people could not afford it. The girls learned with the brothers or sisters, would sit together to study. However, the boys were the ones to learn. The girls had something else that they did. Someone was very wise. He was a poet. He wrote the whole Torah, Shahin Shah, the whole Torah in poetry, that the women and the men chanted. When the children wanted to go to sleep, instead of a lullaby, they would sing the story, for example, of Joseph and his colorful coat, or the story of Purim, or the story of Moses, or for Pesach, when they rushed and rushed to make the dough within 18 minutes, the women would have the tof, the drum, and they would sing and chant the song of the chanting of the poetry of the whole story, fast, 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 while the men are doing it within 18 minutes to finish, to make the matzah on time before 18 minutes. That's how it was. And the whole song and poetry was said in such a beautiful way. Some of it I heard myself, someone read it to me, because it's very hard for me to read Bukharian, but I understand. And I was very, very, very impressed. Every child, for instance, Zina Abraham. Tamar, she told me today, she's over there, she told me that her mother used to sing to her in chanting when before she went to sleep in Bukharian. Tamar, stand up. She's shy. In any case, it was very much accepted. Now, the Jews, how did they survive? Survival was a tough, tough, tough job. The Muslims call them Jodugar. Who knows what it means?
Kishuf.
Kishuf. It means people who make magic and then do all kinds of superstition. No, Jodu is witchcrafting. Witchcrafting. They call the Jews witchcrafters. The Jews call themselves Yahudi or Bnei Israel, and the Ashkenazim Jews call them Bukharian Jews. So you could see each one how they felt about it and how they identified themselves in general. The main occupation for those Jews was crafts of silver and gold, metal craft. Also, the main job, it was also jewelry, pearls and precious stones. And they had furs and silk. And their job was, Bukhara was a crossroad between Europe, when they passed, from each road, all the way to China and back. Now, the Jews were very clever in managing how to do the business. First of all, they trusted each other. They had a common enemy. They had a common enemy. They had a common history. Esther, it was a young girl, Esther. Maybe I'll take out the plug. Excuse me.
No, it's fine.
I think it was done automatically. So the Jews were in trade. The trick for them was this, that they were all united. The women were very strong and tough. They stayed home and they managed the children and the family, and they ran everything. The men were travelers. All they did is to get up and travel and come back months later, and the woman had to take care of the children, the family, the in-laws, the school, the work, whatever. And life was not simple. Everything had to start from scratch, as you know. Now, the men, they never left unless there were 10 minimum. Anybody knows the reason? Good. Now, the boys, after bar mitzvah, they all had to learn shchita. Why do you think? It's not required today to learn shchita, because the boys went with their fathers on a trip, and there probably they learned the trade of the father, so they had to learn shchita in order to maintain kashrut. So they learned shchita only chicken, only if there is no shochet and the father is not around. They had to learn shchita in order to maintain kashrut. And then they would buy from the villages, they would buy vegetables and fruits and eggs, and they would cook for themselves and manage. Another trick, another smart thing that they had was every 6 donkey days away, there was a village, a Jewish village. Why do you think every 6 days? Shabbat was very important. People took a bath only once a week because they were travelers. They came to a Jewish town and there was a Jewish hospitality, hafnasat orchim. And there they took care of the donkeys, they took a bath, they ate, they rested, they prayed, they stayed for Shabbat, and they took more food for the rest of the week. And on the whatever else they had to do, they would buy on the road. This is how they survived. Another system they had is, if you know, you probably know about the Rothschilds. Yeah. The Rothschilds were very clever. Each brother went to a different city. One was in London, one was in France, one was in Germany. They were divided up all over, and they had their own bank, a family bank. The Jews of Bukhara were connected with the Jews of Afghanistan, Mashhad, and the Jews of Persia. At one time, the whole thing was one unit, and people communicated with each other because they trusted each other. The Iranians were very clever. They came up with an idea of the softeh. Softeh means a check. They created the idea, and because they trusted each other, when they wrote check, it could be backed up. And if there was no trust, they could never manage its business. Now, when the passengers, when the groups went from city to city, 6 days apart, they rested. They brought with them mail, and they brought with them sometimes a groom and his mother to visit another town where they had a shidduch. Now, Zina, my friend who sits here, she was my shadchan too. Now, it wasn't just that she made a shidduch with me and the Rebbetzin, and to make this group. She from a long time ago, the whole family was a connector. Her father, Zichrono Livracha, her grandfather was a very, very fine man. His name was Abraham Shamash. In one of those villages, going around to the Silk Route and going through all these cities as the Jews went, he decided that he donated a room where the people would stay and pray. So he knew and they accepted, and the family prepared everything for the newcomers. Every week they would have different people coming and staying. There was no hotel, no motel. That was the lodging, Achnasat Ochim, Jewish hospitality. And her grandfather, Zichrono Livracha, his name was Abraham, but they call him Shamash, because he used to meshamesh ozer, a helper for the community and the synagogue. So for many years they were known in Shamash. When they came to Israel, they changed their name to Abraham. But still, once in a while, I can hear people refer to them as a Shamash family, because this was part of their job, to be a host and hostess and take care of the synagogue and get the people together. Now, they used to send mail through them. They used to send a groom and his mother to visit a girl who one of these villages where they met the people, and they used to make the shidduch. It wouldn't take long, because all the people knew each other. The groups knew each other, each village, and they gave. While the mother-in-law was there checking out, it seems that Zina will tell you later on the story, that within a month there would be a wedding. It was so simple, and nobody even thought twice about it. All right, we will go.
Bring this back.
What? They should bring it back? Okay. Okay, now, they say בזכות נשים צדקניות יצאו ישראל ממצרים. Because of righteous women, the Jews came out of Egypt. And I would say that בזכות נשים צדקניות of our grandmothers and great-grandmothers and the generations before, who stayed home and took care of whatever had to be done, and taught the daughters, and had such a mesirut nefesh, so much love they gave to their task. There was no women's lib, there was no I don't want to do it, I don't feel like it, I'm not in a mood, I can't do it. They did what they had to do with a neshama. When they say ibdu et Hashem b'simcha, they did the job with joy. Not only that, these women also had to worry about their husbands, because on those roads they had a lot of pirates, they had a lot of problems, they had snakes, they had scorpions, they had storm, dust storm. There could be animals, there could be many terrible things, but these women were strong and they helped each other. Another thing that they had in the community, which I think is a wonderful thing, they had a wise woman. Every family or every group had their own wise women. I must say that in Forest Hills, where I lived, after I got married, the wise woman in our community was Zina's mother-in-law.
Zina, you have to stand up. Your name is stand up.
Zina's mother-in-law, Rachel, may she rest in peace, was a wonderful woman. She didn't know much to read and write, but she had good, solid advice. All the women, when they had a problem with conception, with giving birth, with a child sick, with terrible fever, who to get married, problems with the family, whatever was there. She even gave me a recipe. One day she came to me and she says, how many children you have? I said, 2 girls. He says, you come with me, I want to talk to you on the side. I want to tell you how to have a boy. And she was not ashamed. She said it just like it is, without any reservation. Did it work? I have 2 other boys.
Can I have the recipe? Not for me, for my daughter.
Your daughter has to come to me. I'll be happy to help.
You got it. That's priceless.
And I tell you, she was a role model, really. She was a modest woman. She came to America. She was very, very modest, very simple, practical. She used to save every penny and go all the way to the Lansing to buy meat. And she used to go buy things on sale. And she used to be so careful how she spends. But הכנסת האורחים was כיד המלך, just like King Solomon's home. Every home was like King Solomon's home, I must say. Now, the values of the Bukharian Jews. Bukharian Jews, they loved Israel. I want to say before I went too fast, by this 18th century, the Bukharian Jews dwindled. The Jewry went down. They didn't have schools. They had to live like Muslims, and every day was a tough day, and they really barely survived. And there was not much Judaism left. They had a shaliach from Israel, from Jerusalem, who came to Bukhara, and he revived the place. He brought books with him. He made a condition that they were Mizrahim. You see, the Jews of Bukhara are not Sfaradim, and they are not Ashkenazim. So they are Mizrahim. What is Mizrahim? Anybody? Middle Eastern. They were always there in Babel all those years. They never went to Spain, and they never went to Europe. So they were in Iraq, they stayed in Syria, they stayed in Paras and Madai, in Iran, a lot of them, Bukhara, they were all in that, so they have history of 3,000 years, and they are the original Jews. Now, another way that they survived was to preserve the names. That's also, if you remember, when you study about the Jews of Egypt, they kept the names, and they have very interesting male names that I have not seen it in America or heard of them. Mashiach. Would everyone?
Yeah, we have a lady right here. Her husband's first name is Mashiach.
Okay, it's very rare. Bukharian Jews.
She's Bukharian.
Oh, that's right.
She's a real Bukharian. Not you, your husband.
So you can tell, yes, your son. Okay. It's very rare to hear someone call this. Another name that is very unusual, Yedidia. Another one is Mishael.
That's her name.
Yeah, Yedidia.
Okay. Another name,
Mishael, yes.
Hanukkah. Another name, Nisan.
Yes.
Another one, Rachamim.
Yes.
Another one is Kislev.
I never heard that one.
Kislev, just like Hanukkah, someone was named Kislev. Now the girls' names are unusual. Mazal.
We
I
have.
met someone here tonight.
We have a Mazal here.
Yeshua. Yeshua. Yes. My great-grandmother's name was Yeshua. That means redemption. I was named a modern name of Yeshua, Geula. David Ben-Gurion named his daughter Geula. I was born in 45, and it was just after the Second World War. And my parents were in Israel, and they had problems with the British and Ashkenazi Jews coming from Europe from the Holocaust, and they named me Geula. They thought, this is it, the Geula is coming, Yeshua is coming. Another name is Ne'amah. Night came back, Ne'amah. Ne'amah was Noah's wife. Another name is not Batya, Bitya. Bitya? Bitya was the princess. Remember the princess of Paro? Remember Moshe, who got him? Her name was not Batya. Her name was Bitya. Yes. Now it's a different twist. Now, another thing that the clothing. The clothing was a bit different than Ashkenazi Jews or the Hasidic Jews. There was once a traveler who went to Jerusalem, and he said, and he was non-Jewish traveler, and he said that he saw a lot of men in black, like the crows, in Jerusalem. But when he saw Bukharian Jews, they looked like the birds of paradise, with all the colorful clothing. So you could see another way of looking at the different people, how different they are and how same they are. They always wore the tzitziot. All the men, always, Muslims and Jews, always wear hats, but the tzitziot was underneath. Another thing that they did, the Jews in Bukhara went on a Hajj. Who knows what a Hajj is? A Hajj is when they lived among Muslims, they go to Mecca. We Jews had a Hajj going to Jerusalem. So the Jews believed in, and at the late 1800s, they collected money to buy property in Jerusalem. And they called it the Bukharian quarters. It was the first quarter after the place of Jews that bought after Mea Shearim outside the walled city. And it was the most beautiful community over there because the homes were built from stones. Excuse me? Lolo. Shkunat Bukhari. I want to tell you that it was it was the first street lights that they had in Jerusalem. The first bus that started in Jerusalem. All the poets and the presidents and all the people who's who in Israel for that time all lived in a Bukharian section. Another thing that the Bukharian Jews did that was very, very important and very important to them is Hidur HaMitzvah. Whatever you do the mitzvah, you make it beautiful. So they wore special beautiful clothing. And as you saw the robe, who was wearing the robe?
Raquel.
Raquel wore the robe. Now these robes would belong to royalty. The emir would wear it, but they Judaized it, and they had lions there. They had a crown. They have a Magen David, or they have a menorah. So they Judaized it. This was yes, and that was what was special about it. A bar mitzvah boy would get it. He would wear it for bar mitzvah, or they would get it for the wedding. They would wear it for the new baby. They would wear it when they have Chanukat Bait, when they put the mezuzah on a new home. And then they would wear it when they have children. And it would continue. In my family, my mother gave me her dress and her father's coat and a few other things. About 30 years ago, there were a lot of Bukharian Jews coming to New York. And it was almost Rosh Hashanah, and there was a woman with a big wagon with lots of robes. And I walked over and I spoke to her and I said, "Why are you selling them?" She said, "I need money for Rosh Hashanah." I said, "How much you want?" And she told me, and I said, "These robes are mine. I'm just going to the bank. I get the money, and you don't have to stand with the wagon here. You can go home and do your shopping for the holiday." And I bought it for my grandchildren. And I was lucky enough that we went to Bukhara to visit. I was in Samarkand. I was in Bukhara city and Tashkent. I love the history. It was very, very exciting. It was very, very beautiful and very interesting for me because everything came to life. All my past, I became very proud of who I am, where I came from, my ancestors, and I can pass this to my children too. Now, another thing that we continue, I want to tell you that Bukharian Jews are not just Bukharian. They are a mixture of Persian Jews, Bukharian Jews, and Afghani Jews. They were all one family, and we know that they intermarried with each other. There is no better or worse. It's just all one family, which is each one is different. And because of the Soviet Union coming in, and different countries were cut off, and there were walls built, and different governments, so they were separated. Otherwise, at one time, Persia ruled over Bukhara, and one time Bukhara ruled over 27 countries, including India, and including Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and all that, the whole empire. Okay, now, how much time do I have? Okay, I want to conclude that I must say that we all went to the UN and we cried and we begged and we protested that we want Jews to come. When I was small, I used to tell my grandmother, why are you crying? She used to make, with a cotton, she used to make a candle with olive oil. Why are you crying? She says, each one is for the different niece that I left behind, and I'm sad. So I said, why can't they come? She said, there's a big wall. I said, so they can take a tank and push it. She said, no. So they can go throw bombs. She said, no. It's impossible. So I said, so how are they going to get through? She says, remember what I say. Only God's hand can bring that wall down. And I saw it in my own eyes. We all saw it in our own eyes. When the wall came down, I understood what she meant. Thank God, a lot of families came together. I worked at NYANA, New York Association of New Americans. I was a Bukharian translator. The language came back to me. Also, I was a Farsi translator first, and the Bukharian. I loved my work. I worked with a lot of Jewish people, and I tried to do my best. Many of them didn't have a Brit, the Ashkenazi Jews. Some of them didn't have bar mitzvahs, schools, mezuzot, whatever they needed, we took care of everything. I was just a translator. It wasn't my work. The UJA took care of it. In any case, it's a long history, and we worked very hard for it, and we reached this day. We hope that whatever our ancestors did, we continue in their way, and we continue in this way, and we follow them, and we keep our wonderful Torah and the mitzvot that we have. This is what enriched us. And thank God for that. And I thank you very much for listening to me. It was a pleasure being here. And I wish you a good night.
It was really a very special treat. I know that if the hour was not so late, I know for myself I would love to continue to listen. I think it's fascinating. But it is getting a little bit late, and we want to thank you so much, Geula. She spoke from her heart and really introduced the whole. Please, ladies, just a few more minutes. We, God willing, we will be able to listen to Geula again. We have monthly Rosh Chodesh gatherings for Shabbat Mevorchim, and we hope that you will be able to address this again to continue with your fascinating story. There's much more here. You can see here on this billboard that we have here, this picture, many of the rabbis, the Bukharian Jews. I know that there are many people in the room. If you don't mind, just for a moment, just raise your hand if you have any connection to Bukharian Jewry. My husband was born in Tashkent, so I'm raising my hand. So there's quite a few here, as you can see. And that's right, and Gabi's mother. So we have quite a few that have connections to Bukhara, Moshiach. We have Zina Abraham. Would you please come up? Zina will share with us one personal story that she'll share with us. She really is the brainchild of this evening, and we'll be having more cultural events such as these with different communities that are represented. And so Zina will share with us. After Zina finishes, I just want to make a comment. Mazal just said to me, here's another Bukharian Jewish lady, that nobody should leave until we do a little bit of Bukharian dancing, because it's very original and very beautiful, and we have the music. So please don't leave. Right after Zina speaks, we'll have a little bit of that, a taste of Bukharia. We had the cuisine, we had the culture, and we will also have a little bit of the music and the type of dancing that the Bukharian Jews did. And here is Zina Abraham.
I want to tell you this little story because some of the ladies that are laughing. You have to tell the story. The story is, my father is from Afghanistan area. They were the travelers, merchants, traveling city to city. In one of his trips, he met a couple, husband and wife, with 2 children. In fact, one of them is here. And my father asked, she was such a beautiful woman, my father asked, is your wife have any sisters? So the gentleman said yes, that he has another, she has another 4 sisters. So my father takes all the information, which city they live, where they're from. It's not the same city where my father was. So he took the information, then he went to his mother. He took his mother and his brother's wife and went to see this, to find the family. So they went and found the family. Family was in Russia, Kokand, and my father from Afghanistan area. So they met the same day. The family went there. They had some communication because his brother's wife she was a Russian. She was Russian Bukhari. So they had more confidence to trust this man coming from, where is he coming? To get our daughter. So anyway, my mother came, she was working, she came, they introduced them, so they went out together. In 1 month, they got married.
Oh.
Right. And
That was long.
that was long. Right.
They did it a while.
Yes. So
Weren't they sitting Shiva when they came to the house? When they
No.
came to the house, was there a Shiva going on at that moment?
yes, they had a Shiva. The grandmother passed away. It was a Shiva. They were sitting Shiva. And they came to pay visit to the Shiva.
Every day.
Every day. So this was one of the excuses they went to see the family. So anyway, so they came, they met with my mother, and they went out the same night. And within a month they got married. And then my father was from Afghanistan, and he can take my mother out because otherwise she cannot go out of Russia, because they were not permitted to go. Yes. So she didn't have her papers ready, and they say it takes 3 months for her to get her ready, her papers. So my father said, if it's 3 months, I'm not staying here. He left. He left, he said, I go, I make my round, and then I come back, and I will take her. So he comes back after 3 months, and he brings with him some diamonds. So this was the whole thing. They didn't have a bank, they didn't have money transfer, so they buy some things, they sell, and they sell something, go to a different country. So he brought the money to spend, the diamond to sell. So he shows to some people that they are in business, and these people saw it and informed to the Bolshevik. Yeah, informed to the Bolshevik. So the next day, they come to see my father. They said, we heard you have a diamond. My father said, I have, but it's not with me. Give me time. I will bring it to you. So they let him go. The same day he went home to my mother. He says that tonight they have to smuggle him out because he cannot be here. They will take the diamond, they will take him. So that will be the end. So they knew a lot of smugglers because this was the style of the country. So they send, he sends my mother to the market. They have places where they are. So she found the man who will do the job. So she invited him to come home at night. So they talk about it. The same night, he took my father out of the country. Meaning out of the country, out of the, the house, and then walking through the day, hiding through the night, walking to get to the border. They get to the border of Afghanistan, where he came from. Then he goes to the other side of the border, and the people are ready to pick him up. So they take him. So that was that story. So the next day, these people come asking my mother, looking for my father. He said, I don't know where he is. So they take my mother, put her in jail. And she's pregnant with me.
She's in jail.
She's in jail. Yes. Yes.
She was born in jail.
So I was born in jail.
Oh my God. Born in jail.
I was born in jail. Like I think I was maybe the way she said, like 8, 9 months.
Wow.
Yes. And then somehow she became friendly with the workers. They had a different section for the ladies who have a baby. They are with the baby. They liked her very much, and they guided her how to make an application, what to do that maybe she can come out. So that's what they did. And finally she come, they give her permission to leave. And then they brought for her one horse. She's holding me in one of the baskets, the other basket, a little bit of her things. And another lady the same way. And they take these 2 ladies, the same thing, going through to the station so they can take a train. So these 2 ladies, this Afghan man, can you imagine what could have happened? So they take him out of the, to the border, and they go to the other side, to Afghanistan, where my father was. So they met, and I lived in Afghanistan for 17 years, my young age. And then I came to Israel. So that was in 50s. In 50s. So within 20 years, I had a lot of things happening, traveling from Afghanistan to.
How did you get to Israel, Mom? How did you get to Israel?
How did we get to Israel is another thing. we were the first bus that. My mother was very persistent mother of 7 children, and she was pregnant, and my father has a business. And when they became independent of Israel, and my mother said, I don't want to stay here anymore, because we knew we have a family in Israel, we had connection. He said, I don't want to stay. So my father said, I cannot go, because I have to collect my money. Because these Muslim people, when you say you're going, so they have opportunity. They're not giving you anything. So he said, my mother said, if you don't go, I go myself.
Wow.
She took the 7 children, and she's pregnant. And they make a decision that she goes to Eretz Israel. The first bus we left Afghanistan was ours. We were about maybe 35, 40 people on the bus. They put the luggage on the floor, they sit on the luggage, and they go city to city. It took till 1 month. Any city we went, Jewish people lived. We got off, we had shower, we had food, we made Shabbat, then start again. So finally we get to Tehran. In Tehran, then the airplanes come to take people. So from Tehran, then we went to Israel, to Tel Aviv by plane. We had a big family.
What year was that? What year was that?
Around
50.
1950, 2 years after.
Yes.
I came to visit
Yes.
from Jerusalem with my aunt Rachel, Mamon.
Yes.
You were sitting on a boxer.
Yes.
I was 12 years old.
So she had some connection with the Russian, with my mother. So this is our story.
You know what's amazing? One of the things that I picked up here that I thought everything was really but how the Jewish community was so overwhelmingly hospitable. Jews, all kinds of Jews, they didn't have any great hygiene. There was no deodorant and no perfumes, and they're traveling on the road, hot and dusty, weary travelers, and every city that they came to and every village that they came to, the Jews who lived there would open their homes, their hearts, give them showers, give them food and shelter and clothing so that they could move on and continue. These were total strangers. I think we should have a hand for the Jewish people, huh? Okay, very short technical announcement, if you don't mind. For those of you who came in and didn't have an opportunity to pay the $10, please do so as you leave. And the books are $20 if you would like to purchase them. So we're going to turn on the music, and I'm just loving what I see. Everywhere you look, you see beautiful Jewish faces from so many different cultures. So thank you again for joining us for the music.
context into tonight, and it's something that came to me as the night unfolded and as I saw everybody joyously celebrate. And it is really women power, and it is about how women have brought forward the traditions of culture, whether it's a Bukharian culture, a Mizrahi culture, a Moroccan culture, if it's Ashkenazi culture, Spanish culture. They bring forward the traditions of culture. They uphold the values of that culture and of their Judaism, and they still manage to have the energy to celebrate. And they look for every opportunity to celebrate. And tonight is absolutely a manifestation of that kind of celebration. And I want to acknowledge my mother and her putting all of this together, and the Rebbitzin, the good Rebbitzin, to recognize how valuable this was for her. It really was a gift to my mother, but also to share that with everybody and to bring everybody into the fold. And I feel that it was just important to say something about all of this to tie it all together. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you really see the beauty of it the way that we feel.
Community effort, and it was amazing. And we thank you so much. And thank you to our wonderful choreographer, photographer, yes, the guy that tells the people to shh. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, he's going to take pictures. Oh, yeah, can you go?
How was your evening tonight?
Oh, fantastic. It was the most amazing evening. I learned so much about my own heritage, things that my parents didn't have a time to talk to me about because they were too busy living their lives. And I have to thank my cousin Zina for this inspirational evening.
What a Bukharian evening. Wonderful, with a wonderful time.